Hello YouTube, or welcome to MTGA, and today we are going to have a look at Atraxa, Praetors' voice in Historic Brawl. This deck aims to win by playing a bunch of planeswalkers and proliferating them with the commander Atraxa. So, our commander Atraxa Praetors' voice is a 4-color, 4-mana, 4/4 with Flying Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink, and at the beginning of your end step, proliferate. So, there's a bunch of things going on with this commander. First and foremost, this is actually the most popular commander on EDH Rec of all time. So, pretty excited to see this here on Arena now. Second of all, just the body alone with the keywords is really tough to deal with for certain decks. Like, just this body alone makes you really solid against aggro. Like, no matter what you do, you will always be at least solid versus aggro. Second of all, at the beginning of your end step, proliferate is good for two things. Proliferating counters and, well, on your planeswalkers mostly. You can do +1/+1 counter shenanigans, but that will happen more incidentally in this kind of list. And then you can also proliferate poison counters on the opponent, which is not going to be relevant except in one case, and that is the Raska's Betrayal Strings Ultimate. But we're not going for a poison theme because I think that is just not where you want to go. That's basically too slow, and you don't have enough good proliferate targets and enough good poison cards to make that plan consistent. What we're instead aiming to do is play cheap planeswalkers, something like a Narset Pardofails, Liliana Last Hope, play our commander on curve and immediately get value from Atraxa, and then curve into 5-mana walkers, and mostly 5-mana walkers, and we have some at 4 and 1 at 6. We have Phyrexian mana in some of these walkers, but for the most part we try to play them as cheap as possible. And then we just grind it out. So, the first draft of this deck I've made was very much slanted towards like beating aggressive decks, and that's what I would do if I were to play in a competitive setting in the competitive Brawl Hub League or in a tournament. I would be much more anti-aggro focused. But I played a couple of games with this list, and then I realized you're mostly matched up against control. So I've cut a lot of cheap interaction like Fatal Push and so on, and replaced them with grindy cards. And I mean, I can just make a pile of cards that I basically exclusively play because of the queue this deck is in. Mystical Dispute, although I would play Mystical Dispute in a more competitive setting as well, to be fair, right? I think this is mostly, oh yeah, and then the Memory Deluge. So, honestly, this pile of cards is just against the queue you're in, right? Like, we are pretty light on ramp in this deck, actually. We only have like 5 pieces of ramp, so something like an Emergent Ultimatum, it comes down a bit too late. But Emergent Ultimatum also has other implications in this deck, where, for example, if you have a Kasmina and any blue planeswalker with 8 or more loyalty, now that activation becomes much more of a threat because you have this Emergent Ultimatum in your deck, right? So that is definitely something to consider. And then the like big tech, because I expect a lot of mirror matches in the upcoming days, is the Elder Spell, and that destroys any number of target planeswalkers, and then for each planeswalker you destroy this way, you put 2 loyalty counters on a planeswalker you control. So what you can do is, let's say we have a Teferi on 4 loyalty, right? And they have 2 planeswalkers. We resolve an Emergent Ultimatum and we probably win the game on the spot, because the pile we can make is extra turn with Time Warp, solve the equation, and the Elder Spell. And then if they give us extra turn, like, they can't give us the Elder Spell because that means we destroy their 2 planeswalkers and ultimate our Teferi immediately. But then it's extra turn and solve the equation, and if you have mana to Emergent Ultimatum, that means you also have mana to solve the equation for the Elder Spell, and just do the same play anyways. So like there are some really neat lines you can make in this deck. That being said, what are we actually looking for in our planeswalkers? 3 things: card advantage, board presence, and interaction, right? And every single planeswalker, well, not every single one, but most of these planeswalkers try to fulfill at least 2 of these roles. So while Narset is only card advantage, right? Narset is also just too good not to play. Just denying the opponent's card draws is really, really powerful. But like, if we look at Liliana, the Last Hope, it's interaction. Like, you absolutely destroy aggro decks with this, and you have card advantage stapled onto it, right? And then milling yourself is really relevant for certain cards, like Uro, for example. Cling to Dust is also a card that comes in handy in grindier matchups, right? You can put a card into the graveyard to reanimate later with Elspeth's Conqueror's Death, or Tamiyo, which is also here to reanimate your planeswalkers, because a play that is pretty solid is like turn 3 planeswalker, turn 4 Atraxa, and then if if the planeswalker Atraxa die, you just leave Atraxa in the graveyard. If Atraxa dies, or the planeswalker dies, that's in the graveyard, you can just minus, bring back Tamiyo, and now you have 2 walkers on the field and an Atraxa. Get to your proliferate triggers, just tons and tons of value, right? Yeah, another card I am personally not super certain on, but it has performed in testing, was Broker's Ascendancy. The reason why I don't like this card is, if the opponent is able to deal with your threats, then this does absolutely nothing. Like, this just amplifies your threats, kind of win more, or like, it's good to break on board stalls, but it has been good enough. So I think that's a card I quite like in this list as well. Notable exclusions are really big planeswalkers. Like, the only 6-mana planeswalker we play is Professor Onyx, because that is one of the best planeswalkers to put into a threatening emergent ultimatum pile. Like, extra turn Onyx Nissa, for example, can do some really nasty things. Or you can also just put, like, you can also, like, in this deck specifically, you can do really cool things with Elderspell and a Planeswalker. So you can put Elderspell onto this deck for, like, if they give you Elderspell and a Planeswalker in the Emergent Ultimatum pile, you can just, target 2 of the Planeswalkers and then put your Planeswalker on the stack. Planeswalker resolves first, Elderspell resolves, put the counters on your Planeswalker that you grabbed off the Emergent Ultimatum and win the game. So yeah, don't think there is too much else to say here. Keep in mind, this list is going to change heavily how, like, the current queue is, like, what the flavor of the current queue is, right? But this is heavily teched against the mirror match, and like 7-mana Atraxa against control, just like big stuff. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and join the Discord. The Discord is amazing. I just post all my updated list there. Like, you can just go into a commander-specific channel, look at the pinned list. Hey, that's my most recent list. And it's just a great community. So, without further ado, let's play some games of Atraxa Praetors Voice. We are ready to play against the mirror match, Atraxa Praetors Voice, and good thing that we are tagged for that. So, this is a turn 3 Atraxa into a turn 4 Teferi on the play. I think that is good enough, considering that we also have decent mana. Not amazing, but decent. We have a bit too much green for a liking, but we have all the rest of our colors here. So yeah, we need to lead on Dreamroot Cascade into Brushland, otherwise we're not able to cast this Growth Spiral. Thoughtseize would be decently annoying. Oh, that is also decently annoying. I'm not sure if we're supposed to feed into the Esper Sentinel. I think we kind of have to, and then just like sneak in Atraxa out of them. Okay, and we have a solid curve here. That much is certain. Blue, white, green, yeah. So Atraxa on the curve. If they have Wash Away, they have Wash Away, right? I assume it's probably something like Swords to Plowshares? No, nothing. Yeah, that's a Liliana of the Veil, that's... Sure. Okay.
Sacrifices must be made.
And we're just continuing to jam down Planeswalkers. And, like, feeding the Esper Sentinel here specifically is okay, just because we also get to draw a card because we play the Hero of Dominaria. Let's bluff some counter magic. Don't think we want this Botanical Sanctum in our hand right now. Okay. They swing in at Teferi, that is fine. If the opponent plays their Atraxa, we're likely just going to wipe the board here with the Supreme Verdict and pay for it with Esper Sentinel. Pay for the Esper Sentinel. Yeah, that's great actually.
We need to move quickly.
Yep. Just pay for it. Yep. And that's a really good spot we're actually in right now. Because we have actual counterspell up for their threats. We have a Teferi ticking up. Spirit discards a card. Sure, I would like to discard this Celestus. Yep, they discarded Supreme Verdict, which makes sense. Let's draw a card first. So now it gets a bit tricky. Like, we get to have counterspell up, right? But like, if we play Onyx here, we only have counterspell starting from our end step. So they could have instant speed removal. If we play Wandering Emperor, we also add board presence, which I quite like actually. And we can still wait one more turn with the Atraxa, because if we play Atraxa next turn, we proliferate and then Teferi is at exactly 8. So the question is, do we play Onyx or do we hold up Wandering Emperor? I think just jamming down more threats and then forcing their counter magic is where we want to be. Yeah, we are totally fine with that. Untap these. Although maybe we want to honestly, if we just get to resolve yeah, counter that. If we just get to resolve the Teferi, then we're just in great shape actually. Don't need this land in this spot. Some draw cards.
Hurry.
Oh, that's actually so good, right? But now I want the land, kind of. Oh wait, we can just do that. Let's see. Fateful Absence, the Liliana. And now we have an Onyx in hand value, we proliferate on the Teferi with, like, they need an answer for the Teferi, and then we still just get to jam Professor Onyx, so GG. We are ready to play against Valky, God of Lies, which I believe to be a favorable matchup for us. No black in this hand. Do we need more? I mean, this hand also doesn't do anything really. Like, we can bounce a Mana Rock on turn 2, Flash and a Brazen Borrower, but like, what then really? Curse of Silence is really effective against the Valky though, but so is just like any piece of counter magic. I think we can do better. Yeah, this is actually better. Just like cheap Planeswalker that we get to sneak into play. Oh, Broker's Ascendancy, if we get to do the thing with that, that's also amazing. That needs to be on white or green, and I believe definitely on white. White, and then scry one. Oh, Memory Deluge. Yeah, Memory Deluge is the exact kind of card we want in this kind of matchup. Like, I would have loved a land, but since we already have 4 lands, I'm quite comfortable, actually. Is it Kaito Or is it Ascendancy? I think that's just going to be Kaito. Then put a ninja into play immediately. They could just remove it with a fatal push probably here. That's why they have the stick. And then we want to hold up... Oh yeah, Tragic Sleep, sure. We want to hold up Mystical Dispute / Memory Deluge in a turn where they can threaten a Valky. So now they threaten Valky next turn, which is why I'm just going to plus Kaito. I think we discard the Broker's Ascendancy at this point. We don't have a board. It's just not something like at this point. Every time we have mana, we just rather just jam something big. So yeah, Eat to Extinction, sure. We could be sneaky and just say, hey, you don't have a land in hand, and then just like Memory Lapse, but like, nah. You're fine doing this. Don't need Ascendancy. And then let's play another blue source. And now we hold up Memory Deluge, and that's going to be great. What we really want in this spot is a 2-mana, a 3-mana Planeswalker, just something cheap. I don't think Shadowrid's Edict is where we want to be. We just want to counter their commander and just like make land drops. Although, like, I guess we can just take an Edict with 2 lands. We probably just get there. Okay, let's see. Explore. Play land. Now I obviously wish we had another land here, but let's just pass the turn. Because now, like, we just counter that with the Mystical Dispute, and I mean that's probably just the game. We just jam down Planeswalkers. GG. We are ready to play against Old Rutstein. And this is going to be a grindier matchup. I don't like that that this hand doesn't contain anything to do onto, anything useful. But I also think that we can sneak in a fast Renan the Realmbreaker ultimate in this kind of matchup, especially on the draw, on the play. If I was on the draw, I would have mulliganed this. But given that I am on the play, I like it. Oh, I just really like this hand now, because now we do have a Brazen Borrow. We're just literally going to bounce anything. Like a Mana Rock, just give that to us. Okay, I assume they have a kill spell. To play around a kill spell, we should be responsible and minus Renan Realmbreaker. By the way, the chance of this hitting is like 95% or something ridiculous like that. Like, you have a really good chance of hitting a permanent. Yeah, we have to be responsible. We can't just go for a quick ultimate. It's most definitely a land. Which land though? In case this dies, by the way. Like, now they go for any color. Rather green. We have enough green, right? Yeah, we have enough green, so it's a Godless Shrine. Okay. Rutstein enters. We're just going to play an Atraxa, right? Don't think we need to spend life right now. Up to 1. We're just not going to target anything, because in case you didn't know, this doesn't untap the land. I mean, the card would be quite strong if the land would get untapped, but this doesn't untap the land. So now we would have just a tap 3/3 Vigilance Hexproof haste land. But the issue with that is that one of the cards that really punishes us in that spot would be Languish, so -4, -4 to every creature, and I just don't want to risk it for no reason, if that makes sense. Now, I think the next step is going to be... Now I'm not sure. If we Kasmina, we hold up Disdainful Stroke or Brazen Borrow. Yeah, I think I just like that better. If we mill, we get additional value. But... yeah, I think we're just going for Kasmina. And just Turbo Ultimate our Planeswalkers here. We could just -1 Kasmina Fractal, minus Ren and Realm Breaker with a Fractal. Just create an absolutely huge board. I think it is reasonable to try and ultimate Ren and Realm Breaker towards the Kasmina ultimate and grabbing Ultimatum, and then just minusing Kasmina every turn. And that way we just create a fractal with counters on it every turn that we grow, right? But we also are working towards Emergent Ultimatum, because Kasmina does also give her ultimate to Ren and Realmbreaker, which is a green spell, and Emergent Ultimatum is also a green spell. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do here. We can ult next turn if a if we are willing to like kill a planeswalker. We can't kill Kasmina and then ult Ren, because at that point Ren doesn't have the ultimate anymore. That is fine. Put to command zone. And then I think we're just going to basically bounce anything, right? Yeah. I think I'm fine just bouncing the Solemn Simulacrum here in this spot. Because, like, one of the things I want them to do is spend mana on the Solemn Simulacrum, right?
I am not dead yet.
So... okay, that's fine. Yeah, given that we just don't have other plays, I think I just like plussing this. Yes, we keep lands on top. -1. Atraxa. And the reason why I like this play, like we could have held interaction up, but next turn we just can grab a land. Like, obviously we have a land on top in this kind of spot, but we are just very likely to find a land between the Scries here and Ren and 7, then you plus to lands, and then you have Disdainful Stroke up next turn. And even then, casualties of war, like destroying a planeswalker land, artifact, enchantment, and creature, wouldn't be that bad. And now they can't even cast that. Well, they could. Yeah, no, they could, because they have 2 land drops to make here. Okay. Raska minusing, killing Ren and Realmbreaker to prevent an ultimate. That's obviously fantastic for us. Well, it's obviously bad for us, but also, like, we're in a spot where we just have so much value. Oh yeah, we could have ultimated. Yeah, we could have used the Elder Spell, but I just don't think that's where we want to be. And I think we want to just go. Wait, so this enters with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm thinking. So if we play Ren and 7, we could ultimate next turn. 6. So this, if I'm trying to think if we can just ultimate Raska in this kind of spot, if we just hold up Disdainful Stroke, and I think we can, because this enters with 4, +2s with Kasmina, goes up to 6 again, proliferates, it's on 7, then Elder Spell, Kasmina, yeah. So I think it's correct to do this and hold up. Well, the thing is, this is very all in on Disdainful Stroke actually being able to protect us, but I think I quite like this play where just put more fractals into play. And it might seem like a weird play, right? I know. But this way, we just get to win next turn. Did I forget to attack? No, I killed the Raska. So yeah. Because Raska's ultimate gives the opponent 9 poison counters, so that means any form of proliferation just instantly wins the game, and turns out our commander's pretty good at proliferating. I mean, just no, because that would wipe our board, right? Then they could attack the Raska, but like, this way we can actually just win next turn. Elder Spell, the Kasmina, put 2 counters on Raska, ultimate, put them to 9, poison counters, proliferate, and end step win. GG. We are ready to play against Thalia and the Gitrog monster. Most likely some Abzine midrange pile. So, against that kind of deck, I would just love to keep this hand, but we don't have any blue. So I have to ship it. So, yeah, no blue. This doesn't have white, but that is more than fine, given that we have instant speed interaction up. We're going to play a decent instant speed game. We can counter the commander or other threats. We have Memory Deluge. We can resculpt our hand with Seek No Knowledge. Very likely going to bottom the Onyx. And I think we can definitely play on just 3 colors with this. And play Botanical Sanctum. And then probably playing this on green because we get the double blue from the Shipwreck March. This is very interesting. We're definitely going to play this on white, right? That much is certain. The question is just, do we play this tap for the scry now? Or do we play this, then maybe the... I think it's really greedy to play the tap for the scry. At the very least, I think we should just play this Barkchannel Pathway, pass turn, then we can Seek No Knowledge, and then we can still play this for the scry, right? Teachings of the Kirin, sure. Yeah, I still think Onyx is the worst card in our hand. And now we get to just hold up more instant speed interaction. I like it. I like it. And then we can still just put into, like, we can still decide if we want to play this Forsaken Crossroads tapped or untapped, right? Who was the starting player? Oh, I'm not even sure what I was thinking the whole time. Like, you can right click this card, see who was the starting player. I didn't even have an option. I'm sorry for that. So yeah. Let's see. What are they up to? Just pass turn, maybe? Would love that. Mesmeric Orb, sure, that is actually amazing for us. Although, like, this choice now doesn't matter. Except, like, if it's... No, it does matter. We want to bottom this. If it's not a card that synergizes with the graveyard, we want to bottom it, because then we can get deeper into the cards that synergize. Ah, damn it. I wanted to tap this so we can mill one more card with the Mesmeric Orb. Oh well. So, is it just like Raska time? I think I quite like the Raska. Just start drawing.
The reign of flesh is over.
Yep.
Embrace the inevitable.
Proliferate here. That's fine. Yeah, like cards like Snapcaster Mage also synergize with the graveyard. Like we have some cards that really care about the graveyard, right? So we definitely benefit from this orb, probably as much as they do. A card that we want to find in this kind of matchup is obviously a board wipe. Would love to find one. We only run 2, and a tutor. because I figured we can probably just go over most decks, right? So with this, yep, we would love to find an Uro, like just anything like that, really. Okay, that's pretty good, honestly. If we plus this and then remove the Thalia and the Gidrock monster, we actually just get to well, actually, just like our Raska will survive. That's what I'm saying. Oh no, then the Kirin will be a nuisance. So our commander doesn't survive. Maybe we're supposed to dig here. The only issue I'm having right now is if we keep up, like if we detour now, we can play an untapped land and keep Wash Away up, but I don't think that will be relevant. So let's just put this into play tapped, hold up Endless Detour / Memory Deluge, right? And just see what they're doing, like, and then we can disrupt their attacks. Like if they're greedy, Thalia, Gidrock here, because like if we just remove Thalia and Gidrock right now, they know, okay, we can attack, put a counter on the Kirin, that's fine. But if they just split the attacks in this kind of spot, may play land cards from the grave. That's a lot of value, actually. I don't think I want them to have that. Oh, I messed up. I'm sorry. Yeah, I totally messed up. I should have checked how this is tapped. Okay, I'm quite happy actually with this, because now like I wouldn't have played Endless Detour anyways. that is the only reason. Like the way they attack there is I wouldn't play Endless Detour in a spot like that. So yeah. Okay. Tap everything to dig for Uro. Yep. Let's see. Okay. Now, I think we just want a Memory Deluge, right? And then see, we don't have any non-basics is the issue, right? And we just don't get to hold up anything really. What do we want potentially in our hand? Like I'm thinking if we cast this Memory Deluge, what card do we want to cast immediately? Something like a Swords to Plowshares is what we want to cast. So let's hold up blue Esper. Yeah, let's hold it up like this. Brazen Borrower is on the list. And then a Ren and 7. Okay. That is quite nice. Do we have enough blue? We do have enough green probably for the rest of the game. We do have enough black, kind of. White. Yeah, we definitely need another white. That's what we definitely need, and then we can decide later. Okay. And then we can play. Then we can bounce Thalia and Gidrock monster here in the spot like that. Oh, they got a perennial behemoth. That's pretty nice. And then Ren and 7. Put the token into play untapped potentially. Or just play our commander. But we do have options. But we will wait here on what we can do. We can play land. Let's see. Is there anything special? Probably not. Just like a command tower, right? Yeah, that also just fixes them quite nicely. Oh, and they oh, I see. Yeah, they just get to make an additional land drop here. Yeah, that is quite good. Oh, I messed up. So they also messed up. They could have made a second land drop, but I should have, in response to this, bounced the Thalia, so they couldn't make a second land drop. But now they also just gave us the option, and it's all good again. Okay, that's fine. We can just blank the journey to eternity here by using the endless detour on it. Because that doesn't let the creature die, which is great. Do we get to hold up? Yes, we do. Ren and 7 and then hold up Endless Detour or Wash Away. That's pretty great. Yep. Exactly what I want. By the way, I'm holding a card here in the hand because the animation goes faster that way. I will show you in the next phase. Yeah, as we've determined earlier, we're not in a spot where we can 1, 2 white. So white, green, green, black, colorless. That's blue, blue, up for Endless Detour, and that is banned for yeah. We have everything up. That's good. Let's go. Just going to make this huge threat right now. Yep. Put a stop into the end step for the self-mill on Mesmeric Orb. I'm just checking cards in graveyard and if it like how much it matters, right? Do we want to let them flip that? Honestly, no. Thank you. So return it and then eternity, like this doesn't die, it just gets returned. And because it's a token, it's just gone anyway, right? We were just waiting for the attack step. And I think we want to close out this game with some form of ultimate, but like, yeah. Oh, they get to play a Kaya. Oh man, just minus the 8/8, please, I beg you. Nah, they don't do that. It's fine. So I don't hold a card in hand, right? 1, 2, 3. Huh. Doesn't apply for Mesmeric Orb. Definitely works for what's it called? Storm cards. How much mana do we have? I think we definitely want to use a Duress in this spot. Do we have enough black? We are... yeah, we have exactly enough black. Nice. Duress for a Day of Judgment. Nice. Sheoldred's Edict. Yep. Go face. And then the question remains, do we just hold up this Wash Away or not? I don't think we care about this one Kaya activation. So let's just hold up Wash Away for something annoying. Mostly like I'm looking at this Nantuko Slicer, which just gets a huge amounts of value from the graveyard. And if they put that onto this deck, I will definitely counter that. Yeah. If they just put Thalia and Gitrog onto this deck, question. Probably still just counter that, because First Strike Death Touch does hold off the Tree Folk rather well. Okay. They get to play Mulch as well. Yep. Wash Away. I'm just still thinking, Mesmeric or like the. It's a weird that I think it's because it's separate triggers and not like the one. I don't know, because separate instances of triggers instead of like the same source of. I don't know, but like for sure, if you hold a storm card like Grape Shot somebody for 20, you can check that by the way in my Vadric video. But if you like Grape Shot somebody for 20, then that gets definitely sped up. Okay, do we find our Uro here? Yeah, definitely doesn't matter. Still no Uro. Wow, amazing. So we attack first, get this jump, because like if we remove this now, they create a jump blocker in the air, so we don't want that to happen. And just play it like that. Hold up Memory Deluge. That's fine. And then they have a token, but we can make them, like we can force them to sacrifice a non-token. And that is quite relevant if they decide to just play their commander again. Scribe Tablet, sure. Put a land from among those into hand. They got an Aganjo, so we have to be wary of that. And I don't think we want to mill ourselves now in a spot like that. We're behind on cards. Although, like, we eventually find an answer for this anyways, and I really want this Uro. We can think about it in their end step. If they play Nantuko Slicer, I'm going to Memory Deluge in response for some counter magic, although I'm not sure how much counter magic we have left. There is actual counterspell. And where is the Memory Deluge? Memory Lapse, I mean. Yeah, we still have a Memory Lapse to find. Okay. So yeah, I'm 100% going to Memory Deluge in response to the Slicer on the stack in order to try and counter it. And once it's like countered, then it gets milled with Mesmeric Orb. If we put it on top. Yep, they get to do that. Druid class. I'm just like so glad we countered, what's its name? Conduit of Wills. That card like seemed absolutely crucial to their game plan. I wasn't really sure what kind of deck they were on. I quite like their build, but yeah. Anyways, let's see. Oh, that's a Time Warp and removal spell. That is just absolute lethal. Okay, go to our turn. I mean, we already got a removal spell here, but better safe than sorry, right? Yeah, there's the Memory Lapse. Still no Uro. Yeah, Uro was a bit shy today. Oh well. And that is the game. GG. Swinging for 14. And turn. And swinging for 14 again. GG. We are done with the games. I hope you enjoyed them as much as I did. And that is my Atraxa Praetors voice list. Yeah, I think this deck is just doing exactly the things I want the deck to do, and I'm quite satisfied with it. Not much else to say really there. End the video. No, but really, I think it is really easy to fall into, my opinion, the trap of playing too much ramp in Atraxa, and then you have a lower amount of threats and interaction pieces in your deck. If you just like cut the ramp and play interaction instead, you just get to deal with their commander, and then they are left, or with their threats rather, and they are left with just ramp on the field. While now your cards, you can just wait a couple of turns, play land, and then put down your threats while they're, again, just sitting there with ramp, which is quite neat in my opinion. Again, as I said in the start of the video, this deck is heavily teched against the current meta. I usually try to, you know, keep my decks as close as possible to how I would build them in a competitive environment, but I think Atraxa will just have a very big difference between competitive and just public queue, and I think it's just better to put the general public queue list out there for you guys to use, because that's probably what you guys are going to play in. If you want to play this deck on a budget, it's 4 color. Search another video. Anyways, those are the comments and non-comments. Yeah, not much. It's a ton. We're also just rocking a no basic mana base. Again, like, we don't need the ramp we usually get from a basic mana base. Things like Cultivate or Into the North get enabled by that, but I just didn't find it worth it. And you really, really, really want the fixing. Like, compared to 7 mana Atraxa, where you do want the additional ramp because your commander is like the most expensive thing ever. We don't need our commander to win, and we also just don't have that high of a curve. So yeah, we just cut those ramp pieces. We just run no basics, and you need all of the lands except Boseiju and Otawara, to be honest. You can replace those with basics or just anything else, what you like. I just find these to be the best utility lands, and Boseiju and Otawara can just turn a game around if you draw them in the right spot. And it's just really nice to have these, given that you can, like, somewhat reliably filter for them with cards like Ren and 7 or Ren and Realmbreaker, which all, you know, in one way or another put lands into your hand. And then the excess lands you can use for, you know, cool utility stuff. As for the non-land cards in this deck, what do you need? What can you cut? It is really difficult. I think the most important thing is, like, in the 3-drop slot. Like, you obviously need Planeswalkers. We are playing 14 Planeswalkers, right? Like, this is a Planeswalker tribal deck. This is Super Friends. You need Planeswalkers. But I think you really want those 3-mana Planeswalkers to go turn 1 interaction, turn 2 interaction, turn 3 Planeswalker, turn 4 Atraxa. Right? Like, that is the optimal curve you want, and you really want to pronounce that. So you definitely want the Planeswalkers. And you also want the Planeswalkers at 5. At 4, you can somewhat cut them, because you can kind of just say, hey, I'm just going to play Atraxa on curve. But sometimes you definitely want them. So the 4-mana Planeswalkers you can somewhat cut. And then the 5-mana Planeswalkers, again, increase in value, because your curve is like turn 3 Planeswalker, turn 4 Atraxa, turn 5 Planeswalker. Yeah, then Onyx is only here for, like... Well, it's not only here. Like, it's still a really strong card, but I wouldn't play Onyx if I didn't have Emergent Ultimatum in the deck. So if you can't afford an Emergent Ultimatum, I wouldn't play Onyx. And a card I wouldn't recommend crafting is the Elder Spell, but also Elder Spell is one of the best cards in the deck. Because it's just like the meta you're in, Elder Spell is just absolutely disgusting. And will just single-handedly win you games. So it's a weird one, right? Ultimatum, again, it's really disgusting in the meta you're in. If you don't have it, don't sweat it, I guess. I mean, Emergent Ultimatum is way more playable in other decks than Elder Spell. But still, it does require more investment, because Elder Spell requires you to have all these Planeswalkers. Emergent Ultimatum requires you to have the whole package, like things like Elspeth Conquers Death, Professor Onyx. Those are like really solid in Emergent Ultimatum piles, and it is tricky. I would say just like focus on the 3-mana Planeswalkers, that then add the Planeswalkers you want, but card advantage, interaction, and what was the last one? Creatures on the field. Those are the big 3 things, and if your Planeswalker doesn't do any of those, just like don't play it. And yeah, just don't play your Planeswalker. And also there are a lot of like Planeswalkers on 4 mana that fit those criteria, but 4 mana is an awkward spot for us. And then for the interaction, you're looking for, like, I wouldn't play any 3 mana counter spells. 2 is already kind of high. The reason why I've chosen these counter spells over others is just like, on average you're going to encounter like 7 mana Atraxas, right? You want to be able to counter those. Like, you will see that I'm not running Negate, but I'm running Dovin's Veto, for example. Just like very specific things that we want to answer. And if you don't have like Counterspell and Memory Lapse and Tails, then don't run other counterspells in those spots, because those are just not good enough. Like, maybe you can play Negate, but that's about it. Fateful Absence, you can replace that with like other spot removal. You will be a bit worse against Planeswalkers, but I guess that's fine. And the card that is definitely cuttable in my opinion is like Broker's Ascendancy. That card is a bit and then the other ramp cards, right? Like, just if you don't have like Staff of Collision, Broker's Ascendancy, Celestus, just replace those with cheap interaction on 1 and 2 mana. That's what I really want to stress. 1 and 2 mana. And like Endless Detour and Void Rent are just really good at 3 mana, and I wouldn't really play anything else on 3. Maybe if you queue into Rusko a lot, then you want a Maelstrom Pulse, right? But as of right now, you don't queue into Rusko with this deck, so I don't want a Maelstrom Pulse in this deck. Maelstrom Pulse being a 3 mana sorcery that destroys every card with the same name the opponent owns, which is really good against Rusko because you get to destroy all their Midnight Clocks. So yeah, TLDR, you need most of the deck. So sorry to break it to you, but like, it is just really expensive in nature. I think I've said everything. If I forgot to say anything, you guys probably ask me that in the comments, and then I will answer. So it's fine. Or, I can't just answer questions on my Discord. So make sure and join the Discord. Really cool stuff. Lots of channels for different commanders. Lots of discussions going on. Bit for everyone. A bit more competitive than casual for sure. But yeah, don't be afraid to join. See you in the next video. Goodbye.